English, Tagalog. Pero okay lang. But I'm happy to be here with you to share yung mga ibang researches na ginagawa ng Partners for Indigenous Knowledge Philippines. No, no siya nga ikot, hangko nga maibaga nga researcher ak, mas nga facilitator of community action research. Kaya ang outline na ibabahagi ko is our ongoing research in Payo Busao Mountain Province, the research site, initial findings and actions being taken, and then I will focus more on we documented the IKSP on food production system of the Payo Busao. So that's where I will focus. So as I said, this is a community action research that is ongoing. And we started with status on trends of indigenous food systems and documenting indigenous food systems in Payo Busao. Going on to meron kaming mga initial findings, and then they resolve there's a people's call to revitalize indigenous food production systems. And then for this afternoon, asan yung back? I would like to share with you the result of the documentation and attempting to analyze it in the food production systems of the Payo Busao, although they say that they share common knowledge and practices with the rest of the Busao people, the municipality of Busao. I would like to attempt to, what are the features of the indigenous food production system as theorized, paano siya na-align doon sa theory of the sustainable agriculture, which is defined. I'm sorry, hindi ko nakuha na ang aking mga references. But ito kasi in the 80s and 90s pa itong mga PowerPoint. But sustainable agriculture is defined as the philosophy, system, method, technique, and technology of production that makes agriculture ecologically sound, economically viable, socially just and humane, culturally appropriate, and grounded on holistic and natural science. Kaya ito ang balangkas ng aking pagbabahagi sa naging resulta ng documentation namin sa indigenous practices ng Busao. So Busao basically is, it's mountain province siya, di ba? In the end part of mountain province that meets with the Ilocos and Tadjan and Abra. When you look at this, ang kwan niya, pointer, mas dito ang study sites, ito, yung areas na yan. Although nga sabi nila, karamihan din ay common na knowledge system sa ibang bahagi ng Busao. Busao has 4 ancestral domain, and 4 ethnic groups. The Ibusao, the Ipayo, and that's our partner in this research, the Iyagawa and the Kinali people. And then, ganyan, meron siyang ganyan. Pero, if you look also at the population, it's a new phenomenon. It's experiencing depopulation. Kung titignan ninyo, umabot siya ng 9,000. Ngayon, nung 2020 census, it's only 6,000. And I think it's one result of our alienation from our culture. I think no parent will say, my son, my daughter, you go to college and educate yourself and come back to help us improve our livelihoods, our community. We always say, go have your education and go abroad or go to the office, because farming is very, very hard. So that is happy, and that's why many of our rural areas, and there's no support for agricultural development. There is not. I think the support is much more in the promotion of the modern agriculture, the Green Revolution package technology of the Green Revolution, and it has not make our farmers prosperous, generally speaking. But yung isang findings namin, up to the 1990s, the Bisao people to a great extent were self-sufficient in food and even exported some of their surplus products, bananas and rice, to the neighboring adjacent tribes and or communities, And the few Kadangyan or people with more lands import labor from other communities. At present, the people of Payo community import all kinds of food, and even food feeds and commercial fertilizers and pesticides and frozen foods and canned goods and junk foods and all kinds of one, and even farm inputs. But realizing this nga, so we went back. We had a reflection session with most of them are elders, unfortunately, who were able to reflect on what is their food system. So the people's food comes from the cultivated farms, the baangan, the payu, the and then for soil fertility enhancement and maintenance, they make use of green manuring, like they call it lubuk in the baangan. The baangan is the farms near the home site and unirrigated farms. And suwat, it's also green manuring in the irrigated rice plant. And these practices incorporate the cleared vegetation from all around the farms, and all biodegradable things goes into the farm. And then composting is done in the pig pen. This is very, very common, I think, in many of us having pig pens in the Cordillera. We are, I think, the first who promoted the practitioner of zero biodegradable waste. All biodegradable waste goes to the pig pen, and when the time comes, then we bring it to our farms to fertilize our farms. Also, all these farms serves as habitats, and the most highest biodiversity, I think, I know, it's in the rice land, because in the rice land, all flora and fauna of aquatic, semi-aquatic, non-aquatic, they can all be there. Hundreds of insects, and so that is a very important ecosystem, the rice land. And I don't also know why it's also I think the rice as a crop is very much revered, so that we have the elaborate and sophisticated rituals from the land preparation up to the harvesting. And that's also sustain most of the indigenous spirituality. And then it's not also in the cultivated farmlands, but supplementary food is gathered from the forest. Yeah, both from the pine forest and the mossy and the broadleaf forest. So looking into this, and they were able to, and the people realized that, there was one time that they are self-sufficient in food, and they can still recall the stories that people in Halsima are amazed how they can fill up the dangwa and then comes the skyland with rice and fruits and vegetables passing through, and they don't have hectares of land, they only have kulungs or small patches of land, but they were able to farm such surplus, and so they supply their children in the cities. So why? So yung realizing that they resolved because this research started in 2022, and upon the realization, they called for revitalize our indigenous food system. And then they're campaigning when we did this research during the fiesta in 2023, their theme when they did their cultural presentation is that farming is a noble profession. It has produced doctors and lawyers and nurses and teachers. So we should never say that farming is, you cannot get anything from farming, but they really would like to tell the world that farming is a noble profession. And so So if we look at it, the farming system in some of the features of the sustainable agriculture, like it's ecologically sound. So if you see the sources of the food, it comes from the forest, from the cultivated farms, from the rivers, from all of these. And they protect, and they conserve the forest land, and they protect the river system, and also conserve this traditionally or in their indigenous way of life. So everything is interconnected. And then they also have very much belief that land is life, to be nourished, to be taken care of for the future generation. And land is never a commodity. And so with that kind of belief, they do the collective responsibility to protect and conserve the natural resources. And they have the common value of inayan. Since a while back, we have been hearing this inayan. It really is, I think there is already a lot of literature on what is inayan. It's a principle, they say, it's a tenet, it's a value, it's a karma, it's a belief in karma. But it's all, it's the 10 Commandments, they say. Some say like that. Yeah, because it's do no harm. So if we are created by the Creator, then each one have its place in the planet. So each one, you have no right to kill any of the creation. So that's a profound value that is embedded in their food production system. That's why when we discuss the modern agriculture, and if you say that pesticides are biocides, that they are poisons, that they are kudut and they are sabidong, then they will say, and then we are violating our principle of inayan because we are killing. And then they go on to say that why is it that our grandmothers always say that we feed the soil? It's, I think, if we translate it into the scientific knowledge, it's because the microorganisms, the soil will not do its function as a production unit or material if the microorganisms are not there. So it's that value of inayan is revered also in the food production system. And then there's also if we speak of socially just and humane, so it's also like that. But I would like to dwell on this, the relations of the Kadangyan and Kudu. I always hear that in Busao, but the elaboration, I heard it in Pidlisan. Like there was one person who testified that the Dapay is, or our culture is weakening because the relationship, when the Baknang calls those with less lands to go and work on their land, they will, if you did not bring your children to eat in the afternoon, he will tell you, you go and bring your children to come and eat with us all. And then when they go home, meron pa silang mga pabaon. Kaya that reciprocates a lot of, it's a benevolence relationship. Although there are also stories that have been said that, some also of the Kadangan are also exploitative. But generally speaking, in their culture, it's that relationship is more benevolent relationship. And then it promotes the culture of binadang, biningay. Lalo is kaya meron tayong ubo and meron tayong biningay in terms of seeds, food, knowledge, at saka kung ano-ano pa. Kaya that's... And then, if it is ecologically viable, it relies more on locally available resources, like the green manure, the pig manure, the knowledge of the people that is innovating through time, their expertise and their innovations. And it promotes self and community reliance and resilience. In Busao, the story of their baangan, There was one time that the baangan is a mix of all kinds of crops, from fruit trees to short-term crops and other crops. And then there was the time that there was tungro of the, what's that? The kamote. Yeah, I think that's a very popular story in the Cordillera, the Fusarium mill. So they changed their crop into, umuna pala ang tungro ng banana. And so they changed it to kamote. And then the kamote became, and then tungro of kamote came in, and then they changed it to sugar cane as the main crop because they can plant around it. So you also see resilience and having to look into what other solutions if they meet problems. And then it's grounded on natural science. Yeah, that's what is the natural science because in the when you study deeply the rituals and the because that ritual also dictates the timing of the, especially in the rice production, it's aligned with the natural cycle of seasons and weather. So it's very much grounded in natural science, but in the traditional agriculture, it's not only natural science, but I have said there's also the social science, and then it's embedded in indigenous spirituality. Oh no, in the indigenous spirituality, uh, we believe in the unseen, the creator, the spirits of the land, the spirits of our ancestors are with us, the spirits of the plant, and the spirits of the animals. And it does not do no harm if we believe in it because it's respect to all the creation and to our environment. So that is why that much is sustainability in itself. I will not, so yun lang naman. Thank you very much.